What's up? So this book review is going to be about Divided Soul by Marvin Gaye by David Ritz. David Ritz then wrote some compelling stuff. I mean, I just got the book he did on Morris Day, which was incredible, and he wrote great books on Rick James. But this was the mother, the father, the light of them all. This book here on Marvin Gaye was so profound. It took you inside his genius and his depth, the battles, the demons, the struggles, everything that made Marvin Gaye, and how the picture that you were trying to get and grasp with him. Um, Very tragic book because as he ended up getting killed by his father back in '84, and I still remember that like yesterday. I just thought that was April Fool's Day prank, sad to say, but all the stories, but how he, came to be with Motown Records, his battles with Berry Gordy, his own demons and battles with his father, and the way he saw the world and things he was feeling, and the way his musicality was, and how he where he wanted to be. He wanted to be a crooner, but his voice hadn't hit that yet. He had to go through that pain. And then he channeled his brother who was in Vietnam War, and then he channeled all his battles with the rock companies and the politics, and how, and also losing Tammy Terrell as a duet partner and all those great duets, and his battles on the charts and competing with different artists, and how, despite him being a vocal great and a musical genius and depth and everything, he just didn't didn't love it, embrace his own career. This book talks about all his various triumphs, tragedies, different things, and yet it's just so compelling. It's mind blowing about when you read about an artist that truly changed the landscape, was a soulful being, how he heard things, how he felt things, what he listened for, what he longed for, and how that music came inside his mind. It's just so powerful and potent. And when you think about Marvin Gaye, you're talking about artists that truly felt the depths and the magnitude and the forces. And when you explore it, you're really entering chapters. What led him, how he created what's going on, that he broke through from being the Prince of Motown, the acceptable guy, and then he took on as an album artist in the '70s. And when the albums became more of a statement, he made one of the greatest statements ever with what's going on now, which 50 years ago is almost 50 years old, and to this day, it still sounds amazing. Um, he truly touched a core with people with his artistic statements and what he represented as a black man, and strong and character, and how he felt it, and you felt the emotions in his playing and what he wanted to say as a musician, as a songwriter, and where he went to in the streets. But then you had the sensual, seductive side of him when you get to Let's Get It On, which dealt with the blues and the harmony of all that. And those songs still resonate to this day. They're like staples. In between that, you get a Trouble Man soundtrack, which is so underrated. The movie had starred the legendary Robert Hooks, which wasn't too memorable for most people, but that music, man, again, his musicality. Then you fast forward to an I Want You with T-Bone Ross and the late great Leon Ware, and that was such a sensual record, and that still resonates to this day. But then you also get to like the Live at the London Palladium, which I like more than the Live at Oakland album, but the Live at London Palladium, where he brought the classic Got to Give It Up, which incredible rhythm, incredible groove. This book explores his wives, his situations, the whole family situation dynamics. It's a lot to digest, but it's definitely worth every page turner. Going back to the Hear My Dear album with his ex-wife Ann Gaye, and he gave her the royalties of the album, but When Did I Stop Loving You? When You Stop Loving Me? One of the most confessional songs. And I'm going to tell you something. His tone of lead and background vocals and his harmony is second to none. Because, he would compose his lead vocals and background vocals, and they would just be voices of their own. Just mind-blowing. And that's just how I hear his musicality. That just had such a sense of so much purpose and so much vulnerability. He was one of the first and most expressive male artists ever. Not a lot of male artists has been more expressive than Marvin Gaye. You've had quite a few who've been influenced, and you can tell them doing some wails, but very few reach the epic level of vulnerability, along with the musicality, and then the depth and the talent and the range that he possesses and has. So he truly has left a lasting impact. Divided Soul, not just a play on words, but just so much of what he had to go through as a person, as a man, and dealing with his time on earth, and how he looked at life, and how he felt about so much. And it's just, he was just a walking reflection of what's going on in society, and so many unknowns, and what he was looking at, and how he felt, and what he wanted to express, and what he wanted to do. And it's one of those books that it's very haunting, just like some of his music was. Definitely makes you think, makes you reflect, and how you feel about so much. But that's the greatness of listening to his work, and it's also the appreciation of his talent and his depth and what he meant to so many. So um, I wanted to take the time to, because I've had this book for years, but I thought this was a great time to go into it, remember him, talk about what he meant, and the great legacy and the depth of him. So um, let's talk about it. Feel free to give me your thoughts, your comments, your takes. What are your memories of Marvin Gaye as an artist? What are your favorite songs, your favorite albums, his tours? Where you rank him? What you think? Let's have a discussion, because he means a great deal to me personally. He always will, and he's one of those artists that I've always revered and always thought quite highly of, and I always will. So um, feel free to give me a like, hit the take, hit the subscribe. When the bell rings, there will be a new video. And I just wanted to take the time to reflect on the late, great Marvin Gaye, because this was a great book that he co-wrote with David Ritz. And enjoy. Until next time, I have a great evening. Peace.